Africa is not a poor continent. It's a rich continent. And this is something that all African leaders must accept, that we are sitting on riches. But the Africans themselves were poor. And therefore finding out why is it that we are having all the riches and natural resources and yet we are poor. And we must begin to address that. And I think one of them, the challenges of poverty is really food.
Yeah.
Why should Africa be unable to feed itself when you have a vast amount of land? And we are told by experts that we are using only about 8% of Arab land in Africa. So what's happening to the other, 92%? So if we brought that under cultivation, under agricultural development, clearly the situation would be different. But why are we not getting there? We fed Malawi in less than 2 years.
Yes.
The food, staple foods are very, very short gestation period.
You can show up.
Yeah, you plant and you get the result.
Yeah.
So really, when you put in some money, you get good seeds, good fertilizer, and extension services, and you pick up a group of farmers and give them this. Immediately, 6 months down the line, their output more than doubles. And so, using that same extension, it's possible for Africa to feed itself. The concept behind it was that in many African countries, we are being fed by very small farmers, really. In fact, they don't even fit in the definition of small in the other countries. Yeah. And then the question was, how do we get these farmers to produce beyond subsistence? Yeah. And what are the challenges they meet? And we found out that one, of course, was the input, supplies, fertilizers, extension services, herbicides, and also improved seeds, as well as marketing. And we said if we can put together a package that addresses these problems and then, apply it to the people and then see how they will behave, how they respond. And indeed, we did that in, about five years ago. And we found the response to be absolutely tremendous. And we were able to get people who previously could only produce about 3 or 4 bags of maize of 50 kgs a year, for instance. They're now able to produce 15, 20, 25. And these people can go beyond subsistence. They can feed themselves and also feed the nation through their surplus. Malawians have been able to feed ourselves. But now we must look at, can we, together with others, contribute to feeding the whole SADC? As we begin to conceptualize the idea of food security, not at national level, but at regional level, then we are beginning to scale it up. Because, as I said, we begin to look at an entity, a group of countries, to be food secure. Why don't we have data banks where we know which countries produce which foods, especially by having staple foods. We have to know which staple foods we are using in the region and who produces them or who can produce them. How to have power, energy, because even in agriculture, we will need energy. We need, especially if we want to extend the life, or shelf life, as they call it, of the food itself. It must somehow be processed to a certain stage where it will last longer. To do that, we need power and energy. How do we effectively and efficiently move food from the food surplus to food deficit areas? We need transport and communication infrastructure. At the moment, we have, even within SADC, within COMESA, we have what I call highways to nowhere. Because, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because you have a beautiful road up to maybe a kilometer before the border. And the other side, they have also a beautiful road up to, coming in up to a kilometer. And then there is stretch that we are afraid to connect. It's as if we are afraid of each other. Why are we doing this? If we are in a regional economic community, why are we not linking?
Yep.
That's a challenge I'm making. And that, once we do that, we are then sort of upgrading, if you like, expanding this food security program. You know, in the United States of America, we have 51 states. They're states, just like African states. But they have inter-highway connections. Yep. In Europe, we have autobahn. Why are we not having it in Africa? Yep. We have now realized the importance of having improved seeds.
Yes.
Because where we have tried it, we've seen spectacular results. Whereas in the past, it was assumed that you could plant anything and it would grow, and it's not true. Because when the seed is poor, the yield is also poor. So we are now having research organizations that are concentrating on seed multiplication and also improving the seed plant, seed quality. I will have to set a framework, a program that makes sense, regardless of who is looking at it. Because that's really the secret, the secret ingredient. You have to have a program that can be sustainable by anybody else. And then secondly, I'm establishing what I call an African compact on food security, which I'll be chairing throughout for the next 5 years, even if I'm not there. It should be an independent body supporting the African Union, an African compact on food security. And I'll invite about 8, 9 heads of states that are committed to this program. Then I'll invite international organizations, the African Development Bank, the World Bank, the European Union, etc., etc., and some of the countries in the G8. So here's a program, here's what we want to do, and sustain this within the context of the African Green Revolution. Malawi has all the information we need. Zimbabwe has only Zambia, Mozambique, Tanzania. We have all the information we need. All we want is to simply integrate this. We will be drawing experience from countries like Egypt and Sudan, where they have got very successful irrigation schemes, which somehow we don't take into account. And the Sudanese, I've talked to them, the Egyptians, I've talked to them, they are ready to share that knowledge and information with everybody else. What we need is to open up. Government must open up to fund and say, look, we are part of the system, and then interact and share whatever challenges we have and find common solutions, and I think we can. Okay, climate change, how is it impacting on the people? Desertification, lack of water for irrigation, insufficient rains, and almost heavy dependence on that. Starting off with the green belt concept here, and we think we can have green belt in several other countries. If we did that throughout Africa, we had several green belts, then it must have an impact on the climate, even on the environment as such, and the rain patterns, etc., etc. As I said, I'll struggle to make sure that that's realized, that 5 years from now, we can have the food we need.